Going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. Check them out. Check them out. But first, stay on this one. So another little informative video. You know, I do videos talking about malfunctions, how to clear them. However, I really don't think I've given enough attention to what I believe, and what a majority of you guys, I'm sure, would also agree with me on this belief, that the most dangerous malfunction of them all is the squib load. Some people even call it the silent killer. You know, who knows? But moving on, we're going to talk about squib loads, what exactly a squib load is, what you're supposed to do if you come across one or if you're experiencing one, and pretty much how to avoid them if possible. So, for starters, a squib load malfunction. We have to go over a couple of aspects here. If you haven't seen my videos where I go into details talking about the anatomy of a cartridge, as you may know, the entire round itself is not the bullet. There are several parts or components to the round itself. First, you have the projectile or the bullet, then you have the cartridge casing, then inside the cartridge casing, you have the smokeless powder. Then at the bottom, you have the primer. And that's, of course, for centerfire cartridges. And that the only difference between that and a rimfire is really just, instead of a centralized primer, it's a primer compound all along the rim. Regardless, though, what happens is, or excuse me, what's supposed to happen is the firing pin is supposed to strike the primer. That is going to spark the gunless powder that is inside the cartridge casing. The pressure builds up, sending the round out the barrel downrange. Now, what happens if there's just not enough powder, not enough charge to it? Overall, it's just too weak? Well, you might run across what is known as a squib load. So a squib load happens to be when a round that you have fired is so weak, lacks such a level of charge that the projectile does not even leave the barrel. Now, some of you might be wondering why that might be a big deal, why it's supposedly so dangerous. You guys have to remember one thing. One of the reasons why bullets are able to go in a specific direction out of the barrel is because that barrel is the path of least resistance. So when all that pressure is built up, that round is trying to take the path of least resistance. So if the barrel is blocked off and there is no path of least resistance whatsoever, and you try firing the gun again, what's going to happen is the gun is going to blow up. Not an exaggeration, guys. That is 100% what is going to happen. Your gun is going to blow up. Whether or not you're going to get hurt is another question. I would like to say there's a high probability that you're going to get hurt, so it's best to just avoid it. But yeah, squib loads are very dangerous. There's no doubt about that. Now that I've gone into detail, kind of the science behind it and what happens with a squib load, let's go ahead and talk about what to do when you're experiencing a squib load. So for starters, how do you know you're dealing with a squib load? One, the slide is not going to rack back. I can pretty much guarantee you that. It is not going to rack back. If it does not have enough charge to it to get the projectile out of the barrel, it probably does not have enough charge to it to get the cartridge casing, the spent casing, extracted. Now, moving on from that, the more telltale sign that you're actually going to notice before you even notice the slide did not go all the way back is, instead of a loud boom that you would hear, it's going to sound like a pop, like a or whatever. It's not going to be anywhere near as loud. And of course, the sound varies on what kind of firearm you're using. I've seen it out of semi-autos. I've seen it out of revolvers. And the one consistency that you know is that, wow, this sounded way too weak. I need to check something. If you're shooting a firearm and it does not sound right, there's a possibility that it's not right, and you should always be on the safe side when it comes to this matter. I can't believe some people just don't even realize or don't know what this malfunction is. But it's important that you guys do know. It's important you guys don't blow your guns up and hurt yourselves. So, moving on from that, if you notice something is wrong, if you hear a sound that sounds pretty off to you when you're shooting, go ahead and, one, clear the firearm, go ahead and drop the magazine, rack the slide to the rear, or if it's a revolver, just go ahead and take the cylinder out, get rid of whatever live ammo or spent casings you have in the cylinder. And then you're going to not look down the barrel, but look through the barrel from the rear. So the barrel is not pointed towards you. For example, if I felt I had a squib load in my Glock Model 45, for example, go ahead and take the magazine out. As you guys can see, there is no magazine in there. I'm going to lock the slide back, just like I said, and then I'm going to look through the barrel back here. I feel like there's just going to be those people who think I'm telling people to look down their own barrel when I'm 100% not. Why are you looking through the barrel through this angle? So that way you can see if there is any light shining through it. If there's any light shining through it, that means there's a high probability that there's nothing in your barrel obstructing it. I had to be extra with that one. I had to, because I know some people are going to think that I'm telling you guys to look down the barrel of your gun. In no way, shape, or form am I telling you to do that. When you look down, if you do not see any light whatsoever, there is a possibility that there is an obstruction in the barrel, especially if you were just shooting and you shot a round that did not sound right. It sounded much quieter. It felt like there was a lot less charge to it, like there was less recoil, like the possibility of a squib load. So what you're going to do in that event is, one, make sure you don't put any other ammo in the firearm, obviously. Two, what is going to happen is you are going to then, if you don't have the tools with you, put the firearm away, go ahead and take it to a gunsmith or to somebody that has the tools, or if you have the tools at home, take it home, fix it, okay? If you have the tools, you're going to have to ram that round out. Now, there is another method that I've seen. I don't know the validity to it, so please do not act like I am standing by this second method. This other method I have seen people do, I've seen people, go ahead and take an entire cartridge, pull the projectile out, and then just load the casing with the powder and all of that in there, and then fired that, hoping that that pressure would then, send the projectile out the barrel fully. And do I know if that works or not? No, not really. But also, I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't. So I am going to say that that is another way to clear a squib load that I've heard of. But would I attest to that, or would I, do that myself? No. So I really don't recommend you guys do that either. All in all, squib loads have to be, if not one of the most dangerous, if not one of them, the most dangerous malfunction you could ever come across. So it's important to know when you're experiencing one. It's important to know when you do experience one, what to do. It's important to know how not to blow up your gun. Yeah, I didn't think I'd have to explain that to you guys, but yeah, it is important to know how to not blow up your gun. But I do think that about wraps it up for this video. Yes, I'm aware this one wasn't going to be a very particularly long video. You know what? Actually, before I even wrap up this video, one way that you can try to avoid a squib load, because in the end, guys, it's not ever a user error that causes a squib load. It's more so quality control from the company that you've gotten your ammunition from. Use good ammo. Don't go your cheapest route possible, because you do run that possibility. So why would you take that risk, especially when it comes to the possibility of a malfunction that can blow up your firearm? I'm not sure. But with that being said, I think that about wraps it up for this video. Y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all and. Whether or not you agree with me, actually, this isn't even one of those whether or not you agree with me. Whether or not you like the content that I put in this video or not, because in the end, we can all agree. If squib loads are not the most dangerous malfunction, they for sure are one of the most dangerous malfunctions that you could pretty much ever come across. You don't want to ever have to deal with them. I don't ever want to have to deal with them. I don't want you guys to ever have to deal with them. But here's how to know, at least, if you are dealing with them and what to do. So whether or not you like the content I put in this video, go ahead and comment down below why or why not. Make sure to check out all my other videos. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.